The story often begins with a few rows of crops uprooted and clear hoofprints pressed into the damp soil after a night of rain. An average sounder of wild boars may consist of 6 to 18 individuals, and in a single feeding event they can damage between 200 and 400 square meters of cultivated land. At the early stage, however, the destruction appears minor. Many people believe it was only a random visit. But when there is no response for 4 or 5 consecutive nights, the herd begins to regard the area as a safe food source. Within just a week, visible trails form along the forest edge, and the field becomes part of their routine route. Initial damage usually affects less than 15% of the cultivated area and is therefore easily overlooked. However, if the herd returns regularly for 2 weeks, the level of destruction can double or even triple. Wild boars have strong spatial memory and remember safe timing. They observe human activity patterns and adjust their movement accordingly. When they perceive no significant intervention, they expand their feeding range. This continuous repetition causes damage to increase gradually in cycles rather than appearing once and stopping. An effective solution requires careful preparation. Bait is mixed from ground corn, water, and a small amount of molasses and fermentation yeast, then left to ferment for about 3 to 6 days. Each bait site typically requires around 25 kilograms of material to generate sufficient attraction. The fermented scent spreads within a radius of several hundred meters, especially noticeable at night when the air is cool and stable. Yet the decisive factor is not the amount of bait, but the preservation of a natural environment. Avoid sudden noise, limit frequent visits, and reduce human scent for at least the first week. Once the herd feels secure, it will return on schedule and follow the same route. After the herd forms a feeding habit, careful monitoring begins. Trails approximately 40 centimeters wide and soil depressions 6 to 8 centimeters deep indicate fixed movement paths. If the trap is positioned even a few meters away from the main route, effectiveness can decline significantly. Therefore, at least 3 nights of camera recording are used to confirm the precise passage point. Their habitual movement along familiar terrain means they rarely change direction unless facing unusual pressure. The control system is designed in a circular structure with an average diameter of about 12 meters. The thick steel framework is welded and anchored into the ground to withstand impact from individuals weighing 90 to 140 kilograms, capable of exceeding 40 kilometers per hour when startled. The circular design eliminates right angles where force could concentrate and cause damage. When multiple individuals move within the enclosed space, force is evenly distributed along the steel frame. Bait is placed at the center, compelling the herd to move fully inside. The automatic trigger activates only when the entire herd enters the control zone. The steel gate drops quickly and synchronously, sealing all exits at once. As a result, the situation remains stable rather than spreading chaos beyond the area. simultaneous herd control is far more effective long-term than isolated removal. A female can produce 1 to 2 litters per year, averaging 3 to 5 piglets each. If even a few individuals remain, density can recover within a year. When the entire herd is controlled at once, the reproductive cycle in that area is clearly interrupted and farmland has an opportunity to recover. In areas near residential zones, the risk extends beyond crops. Traffic collisions and unexpected conflicts with domestic animals may occur. Bright lights or loud noises only cause temporary retreat. Without sustainable measures, the herd returns with greater caution. The enclosed trap system therefore serves as prevention, reducing the risk of spread into populated areas. Wild boar management is not an extreme action but an adjustment based on behavioral understanding. Success is measured by protected land area and maintained community stability. When placed correctly and activated at the right moment, the circular control system can safely, systematically, and sustainably end the return cycle.
Florida is entering one of its most challenging phases of wild boar control. Large, noisy, and predictable herds are no longer the norm. Instead, they are splitting into smaller groups, shifting their active hours and constantly adjusting their routes to avoid locations that were previously targeted. Infrared cameras placed in the fields and fresh tracks pressed into damp soil reveal a clear reality. If old tactics continue, farmers will always remain one step behind. At this point, control cannot remain a reaction after damage occurs. It must begin with anticipation. Rather than placing traps where destruction has already happened, the new strategy focuses on movement corridors, trails cutting through forest edges, along drainage ditches and beside farm fences. These are the routes wild boars use repeatedly night after night. The first line of defense is a one-way gate trap system. These traps do not rely on strong bait scents, nor are they placed openly in the middle of fields. They are positioned discreetly, blending into the natural surroundings. When an individual enters, the gate closes and prevents it from exiting. In the early days, the system works effectively. Individual animals are contained, reducing pressure on farmland and limiting the spread of damage. However, wild boars adapt quickly. After only a few weeks, their behavior begins to shift. Some groups move later at night. Others take wider detours, avoiding familiar trails. The trap still functions, but capture numbers gradually decrease. This makes one thing clear: a single trap cannot solve the entire problem. It serves to slow movement patterns and provide behavioral data. Instead of dismantling the system, farmers adjust the deployment. One-way traps remain in place as invisible guideposts, quietly forcing herds to redirect along controllable routes. At the same time, large drop-style enclosure traps are installed at strategic positions, areas showing concentrated feeding signs where visibility is limited by brush or uneven terrain. When activated at the right moment, drop enclosures can contain an entire group. The key factor is not the number of traps, but the timing of activation. Surveillance cameras allow operators to confirm that the whole herd is inside before triggering the mechanism. This prevents partial captures that would make remaining animals more cautious. Along forest edges, smaller traps serve as early detection and delay points. They are not only for containment, but also for reading behavioral changes. If a trap is completely avoided, it signals a route adjustment. If tracks cluster around a new location, the strategy is updated accordingly. A modern control system does not rely on a single fixed position. It is a distributed network covering the entire risk zone. Each trap functions as a data point. Every shift in herd direction becomes valuable information. This allows controlled intervention, avoiding prolonged pursuit and reducing risks to people, livestock, and surrounding property. Captured animals are handled according to local programs and regulations. In many southern U.S. states, the transport of live feral swine and population management are strictly regulated to prevent spread and reduce disease risks. This is not an improvised action, but part of a long-term plan. More importantly, the strategy acknowledges one reality: wild boars never stop adapting. Therefore, the control system must continually evolve. Each season brings a new challenge. Dry periods alter water sources. Harvest season attracts larger groups. There is no fixed solution for every situation. Wild boar trapping is not a matter of luck. It is the combination of observation, analysis, and timely deployment. When concentration points are accurately identified, damage can be reduced to the lowest possible level without rushed reactions. If your area is also facing wild boars, share where you live and when you most often see them, late at night in open fields, near barns or close to residential areas. That information is always the first step toward a more effective strategy.